Australia is more suited to aviation than any country in the world. Our low terrain, our vast distances and our bad roads.
The centenary of Australia's Federation is indeed a time to reflect where we've come from, where we are and where we're going. It's still hard in 2001 to comprehend the sheer vastness of the Outback, where the landscape lies unbroken for literally thousands of kilometres at a time. And when one thinks of the tyranny of distance, one of the most important ways of overcoming isolation in the Outback was through aviation. Outback Queensland, Western Queensland, was the birthplace of two great Australian icons, Qantas and the Royal Flying Doctor Service. And it's almost impossible to understand these days just how difficult early air travel was, and we couldn't think of any more fitting tribute. Federation Airshows in the Outback is the largest event of its kind to be staged in Outback, Australia, and we thought it was particularly appropriate for the 100th birthday of our nation.
The journey was, I suppose, a dream that became a reality to bring a group of historic craft as well as a whole range of people, private pilots who were joining a rally, and bring them to areas of Outback Queensland and put on an air show. They called it the Barnstorming the Bush.
Here today is one of the fabulous national centrepiece events, Federation Airshows in the Outback. I'd like to welcome you all here today, and I hope you have a fabulous day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Ross Fitzgerald, Chairman Centenary of Federation in Queensland.
When we started talking to communities, of course, we couldn't decide on one place to do a spectacular airshow. Each town wanted an airshow in their area. So it changed really from this notion of one big airshow into this travelling armada that would travel this huge route right throughout Western Queensland. 2 weeks of non-stop celebration in the southwest Queensland.
It really was a flying armada. They had everything from beach staggerwings to Harvards to the Super Constellation to the DC-3s, and then some of the amazing modern planes used by the stunt pilots.
Organised by Peg and Meehan will be on 123.45. The airfield out there, I've got a diagram up here and we'll talk about the movement in a minute.
Charter was the first day, and we were in southwest Queensland in July, and it never rains at that time of year, so we thought we were pretty safe. So you can imagine my dismay when I woke up and there were grey clouds hanging over the sky. We actually did get a bit of rain that day.
As many of you might know, Charleville is the original base for the Royal Flying Doctor Service, established in 1928 and continues to fly today because of your generosity. So ladies and gentlemen, your gold coin entry today will go towards their cause, and any other donations that can be given today will be great. Take a look and wander around the historical displays, have a look at the airplanes and talk to the pilots.
Absolutely packed with aircraft, over 100 aircraft just sitting there, the replica of the Southern Cross. It just looked good.
From the years of Sir Charles Kingsford.
This is the Southern Cross replica from the original Southern Cross design. Back in the 1920s, most Australians would have been, well, a little sceptical at the intentions of Sir Charles Kingsford Smith. By way of contrast, the Beech Stagger Wing. This was the private aircraft used by General Douglas MacArthur during World War II. Many of his stays were in Outback Queensland and other centres around the state. And you'll notice in the tent area today that great living legend of Australian aviation, Nancy Bird Walton, taught to fly by Sir Charles Kingsford Smith.
My God, it's a woman. That was on the telephone, you see, and I phoned to get some landing instructions, and there's dead silence, and he gasped, my God, it's a woman. Now, of course, people are very happy that there's so many women in the cockpit because they are very conscientious, they're very good, and the captains couldn't be happier. Some are captains, of course.
What's your speed in now, Tom?
Yeah, the aeroplane's stressed to plus or minus 10 G, and we probably pull plus 10 when the adrenaline's flowing, and it's hard to tell the minus G because the meter stops at minus 6, and most times it's stuck on the stop, so it's probably minus 6, minus 8.
And we felt it too. Insert us now. I guess this is when an airplane is not an airplane, but a chunk of metal tumbling through the air tunnel. Yeah, excellent, excellent. Wow, kicks it straight there with a little bit of rudder right at the end.
The DC-3s were absolutely beautiful aircraft. There's something out of a World War II movie, these gleaming silver craft, and they look absolutely amazing when they fly. We were flying from venue to venue and just happened to look out of the window, and there was one of the stunt pilots flying on our wing. Pip Borman in his plane sitting on the wing of our plane with the smoke going, waving through the window. And it was just amazing to see him so close.
I'd just like to make an announcement.
You like that?
There will be buses leaving to...
You reckon you could be a pilot?
I think the children were the people that were most affected by this air show because they were bussed in from wherever they were so they could attend, and their enthusiasm was just catching. Everybody got excited when the kids were around because they were so excited to see these planes and asked a million questions and wanted to know everything. It was something that they'd never seen before. Many of them had never been on a plane.
Oh, I turned 9 this year. You're a big fella.
That's a stop?
Right there. Well, they're the mixtures, and that's to control the power of the aeroplane. And we know, even if it's cloudy, we know where we are.
It brings back a lot of memories to recall seeing one outside the passenger terminal here, although in those days actually there was a big Bohemia tree. There wasn't a passenger terminal. But all us kids used to go back and forth to boarding school on DC-3s. And in the summertime, coming back from Charleville to Blackwall, which is the way the plane used to go, could never stagger up high enough to get away from the storms and things, so virtually everybody on the plane would have been sick probably if we knew, even the pilot, but terribly rough and very hot actually.
And it was, of course, the main aircraft that was used in the channel runs to the outstations, and up to maybe 16 DC-3s operating on a daily basis, doing up to 13 takeoffs and landings from station to station each day.
The DC-3s, I think, was something for me that was exciting because they were the planes that were carrying people around, particularly in regional Queensland. And to be inside one of those is fantastic. The seats are plush and so comfortable to sit in, but they fly very low. So that caused a bit of difficulty for some people on those flights. But it was lovely to sit in the old DC-3.
It's going right back to, I guess, the real flying. But to fly them properly and accurately, they're quite demanding aircraft.
It's piloting at its best. They have to track everything themselves. They don't have global positioning systems like they do in normal planes, so they really have to use their skill.
Unlike the modern aeroplane, which is power-assisted with flight controls, etc., this aeroplane is pretty strenuous as far as the stick and rudder aspects, particularly the rudder. 180 pounds pressure required on the rudders. It's a slow, unresponsive aeroplane, very slow in the rolling plane, and as such, the anticipation required to roll out on a display line, etc., is challenging, but also very rewarding.
Particularly the people of Longreach and Western Queensland can be very proud of the role played by them and by their region in Australia's aviation history. The centenary of the Federation of Australia.
We'd chosen Longreach as a place to invite most of our key VIPs to. Longreach being the home of Qantas, we thought it was fitting that we actually invite all the key VIPs to that area. So we had like a full-on VIP function, well, as VIP as you can get when you're holding it in an aeroplane hangar.
Of the Southern Cross, so this is a message from Peter Beattie.
We had perfect skies for that, fantastic crowds, and I don't think I've ever seen so many hats all pointed, tilted to the sky, looking upwards. So Longreach again was terrific numbers.
13 times national champion of Australia, Chris Barou punches the pit special through the blue skies of Queensland. Whether right side up or inverted, the pit special's performance remains the same because of the symmetrical aerofoil design of the wings. The skill of Chris Barou is typified by this manoeuvre.
A rolling circle.
All the airspeed washes off. A roll to the left, then a corkscrew in the vertical, and a recovery.
There was enormous local support in every town. They put on dinners for us when we arrived. They provided entertainment. The local SCS would always be on hand at every venue, looking at crowd control, safety. There were volunteers to collect funds for the RFDS at every venue.
Foxtrot, Mike, Echo.
The fleet split up and some went to Hughenden and some went to Winton. Winton and Longreach both claim to be the originators of Qantas, so it's quite contentious when you're out there. It's a very small airstrip, but one of the DC-3s went there.
Thank you, Winton.
We had lunch in the city centre and they really had to work hard to feed this enormous mass of all these hungry pilots.
Bob Hoogland, Chief Executive Officer. On behalf of the Queensland Government and the centenary of Federation Queensland, we'd like to give you this plaque in appreciation of the tremendous hospitality you've extended and all the hard-working ladies who have provided the food, and yourself and all of your cohorts here and all the citizens of Winton. Hang this proudly. Congratulations and thank you.
We're delighted to have you in Winton and thank you all for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nancy, on behalf of the Pelican Waterhull Flying Club in Winton, we would like to honour you with honorary life membership.
I'm thrilled to be a member of the Pelican Club. I flew with the Flying Doctor Service. We'd fly over a waterhole and the pelicans on it. And the pelicans would take off, and as he flew over them, they'd look back and then, of course, they'd stall and fall into the water. They'd go plonk.
As a pelican, when pelicans meet, they flap like that. That's the club signal. Yeah.
Great exercise. Thank you very much indeed.
Cloncurry was huge. Cloncurry was almost the biggest event that we had. We engulfed the entire town.
We have a lot to show you. We have parachuting today. We have historic aircraft to perform
aerobatics of the gentler kind, Dick Nell, a senior man in his 70s and master pilot, puts the Stomp through its paces. The Stomp. It looks like a tiger moth, behaves like a tiger moth, but the pilots say it's better than a tiger moth, simply because of its handling ability, its performance features, its slow flight, and its overall performance as an aerobatic aircraft. Series of tandem two-seat primary training biplanes were designed by Count Stomp in Belgium. The Southern Cross replica, a single-engine high-wing cantilever monoplane with a one-piece plywood covered wing. It served as a very large fuel tank. Over those Atlantic and Pacific crossings, the interior of the aircraft was one giant internal fuel tank as well. The Southern Cross replica and the Beach Stagger Wing. Smithy and his crew of 3 left San Francisco in 1928 and arrived in Brisbane 11th of June after 83 hours and 11 minutes. Squadron eases the Caribou onto the runway, up onto the nose wheel, and performs what is called the wheelbarrow. It is simply a display of skill by the pilot and the dependability of the mighty Caribou. Each Caribou can carry 32 troops, 26 paratroopers, 7,000 pounds of cargo.
Charters Towers was a really beautiful venue to see the air show.
So it'll be a very quick brief this morning. The airfield, there are a few quirks with this particular one. The drover, I think, will be going back out onto 01 and taking the intersection back, as will the heavier aircraft down the far end, the DAC and the Caribou. Our display aircraft are parked in this area and along the corridor that you can see through here. The gable markers are only 10 metres beyond it, so it's fairly close. And I haven't put any cones or anything along the line itself. The thing is pretty well set up. This is the 4th of the 6 displays. We finish on Sunday, and let's continue. We've done extremely well so far, and it's been quite gratifying. So please fly with good airmanship, sound common sense, and professionalism, as you all are. Are there any questions? David.
The Southern Cross.
The day of the show was just huge. It was the biggest crowd we had. We had more than 9,000 people come out to see the air show, which is about 70% of the population, and given that it was a weekday, that was an amazing turnout.
Apart from its defence role, civilian emergency has been the cornerstone of the Caribou. During flood and drought relief, it's always the Caribou from the Air Force that is first on the job. Of safe flying is typified here with a ground demonstration by the pilots of the Southern Nights. To actually walk the formation routine provides the psychological dynamics for safety in the air. The leader is followed by his 3 team members and position themselves on the ground exactly as if they were airborne.
Are you there? Is that true? Comment.
The de Havilland Drover started design in Australia in 1946. The first one was produced in 1948 with the intention to become the bush aircraft for Australia, both for use by the Royal Flying Doctor Service and in what we now call regional airline work throughout the bush. And it was designed to replace the de Havilland Dragon, which had put in so much work in the bush before the war. that could easily take a doctor and a nurse, a sitting patient and a stretcher patient. It didn't leak, didn't shake around nearly as much as the old aeroplane did. And of course, if perchance one did have an engine failure, then it would maintain height on 2 engines.
Powered by these wonderful 550 horsepower Pratt & Whitney engines, the Harvard is a high-performance World War II training aircraft built by the North American company. Known as the Schoolmaster of the Air, the North American Harvard demands the best of its pilots. Literally thousands of Australian Air Force pilots who joined the Commonwealth Air Training Scheme learned to fly on the Harvard.
We are watching experts at work, a capable bunch of guys. Flying numerous types of
We organised with local communities, and we would split up the flotilla so that at least the smaller communities that didn't get a full air show had a bit of a taste of it.
I'm going to be knocked up. Okay, hand out the window. How's that? Pretty good? Good on ya. Okay, young fella, you're all little enough to be able to stand up here.
Well, Super Constellation's a very romantic aircraft, and back in the 50s, people travelled around the world for the first time in this type of aircraft. The aircraft, in fact, surprises most people that we can take it into some very short fields, because it was designed in an era where there were no really long runways. In fact, many of our old crew who flew Connies back in the 50s for Qantas, who are in my ground and in my engineering team with the aircraft, just can't believe we've taken the Connie to some of the Outback aerodromes, which previously only DC-3s might have gone in, or wartime aircraft.
Smoking lights on. Landing gear lever. Down, standby for indication. Okay, brake selector. Emergency. De-icer switches. Off vacuum.
Super Constellation's an exciting aircraft to fly. You've got 4 massive engines and huge propellers behind you, and we need a crew of 5 to make all this work as a minimum on the flight deck, with 2 flight engineers and 3 pilots. And it's an aircraft that requires an enormous amount of crew coordination, making sure all this is flying together and flying in formation, and we all know what's going on.
The Super Constellation was one of the most coveted trips you could get, and I was very privileged. One of the pilots invited me to take a trip from Claremont to Emerald in the Super Constellation. Once you're a pilot, you're always a pilot. A lot of the people that were involved with the Super Constellation have retired from general aviation, but they keep their hand in, they keep their licence current, and it's a way of life, and they never let it go. I felt very, very privileged, and it is truly a beautiful plane. It's very, very gracious, even 50 years after it had been abandoned and then restored by today's standard. It is a beautiful, gracious, comfortable aircraft. It's amazing.
Well, I think Australians have identified themselves as an international country only in recent times, and Qantas operated them through the 50s, and in 1958 flew 2 services starting over Sydney, one travelling east, one travelling west, and this was a great milestone in aviation history that an airline had actually flown around the world service, and it put Qantas and Australia on the map because of the Constellation.
Every time I look out the window, I pinch myself to think all these massive engines are following us in formation behind.
This is luxury flying, and it's wonderful to be on board with all these gentlemen volunteers. They are absolutely marvellous, and they're looking after me like a little brick church.
We actually created the first traffic jam in the entire history of the town of Emerald, and the Courier Mail journalist that was travelling with us described this wonderful line of utes that was backed up for about 5 kilometres trying to get out to the airport.
The ubiquitous Caribou that has left an indelible mark on the Australian defence and civilian community for its record years of service and trouble-free. And over Emerald Airfield, the grand finale for the Southern Nights. The Harbours execute their bomb burst.
Morning.
Morning. How you doing?
See the shoes go on.
Right, and the hat go on.
That's exciting.
Right, now we're ready for the day.
At 3,000, the wind is 180 at 10. At 5,000, 150 at 10. 7,000, 160 at 10. And at 10,000, 250 at 10.
Well, I blame the organisers.
Now, the TAF for Roma, the only NOTAMs that'll concern you on Roma is the closed runway, so don't forget about that. When you go down, if you can overfly Spring Shore and Engine.
The rally was actually officially conducted, and the pilots would have to chart how quickly it took them to get from one place to another. And they also had a questionnaire that they had to fill in every leg of the journey. So as we went along, we would get running totals of who was in front and who'd got the most right answers.
When you go down to Roma, if we can all depart before 10 o'clock, all the liquids before 10 and the heavies after 10. That'll work out real good at the other end.
Roma was really bittersweet. It was the last event, and after 12 days everyone had really formed as a group. It was a well-oiled machine, and everyone was really sorry to see the whole program come to an end.
Thank you.
Roads were packed, coming into the airport packed. People with Eskies hats. There was just crowds everywhere.
On a practice run, Chris positions the aircraft and develops his line towards the balloons positioned between the two poles. Now, we don't envy the position of these balloons. The internationally acclaimed ribbon cut. Satisfied with his reconnaissance run, Chris Caribou now positions the pit special for his approach to the balloon. On descent now, passing through 300 knots, he approaches the field, rolls to the left, aircraft inverted, now descending towards the target 1 metre off the ground, and bingo! Makes the connection with the balloon, and the ribbon cut successful.
On the last night of the air show, the town council had put on a dinner for us, and everybody came. And that was a time to have all of the prizes. Everyone was exchanging phone numbers and names and contacts.
Queenslanders all, we shall take home with us a great appreciation of your part of Australia. Your hospitality, your willing support and appreciation has made this event a memorable occasion and a fitting tribute to the centenary of Federation. Thank you all. I would just like to conclude with the balloonist prayer for those who haven't heard it. The winds have welcomed you with their softness. The sun has blessed you with its warm hands. You have flown so high and so well that God has joined you in laughter and gently placed you back in the loving arms of Mother Earth. Thank you.
Probably the most heartwarming experience for me was just the gentle conversations we had around campfires and over a cup of coffee, watching the exchange between the people of regional Queensland and these city-based pilots.